Thank you. Thank you for having me here. And I'm really surprised. I was really surprised when I first got the call. And I'm humble, I'm honored, I'm pleased to stand here before you as one of the 2010 recipients of a Harry Pinchot Award. I don't really know where to start to thank people. There's so many people that I need to thank. I get a lot of credit, but it's not all me. It's a wholly team effort. And I guess I could start by thanking God for allowing me to survive for the past 8 years. And also thanking God for putting in my heart the inspiration to carry this message that I've been carrying for the last 8 years. I want to thank my wife and family, my lovely wife who is here with me tonight, for her support in being a traveler with me on my journey as a survivor. An example of her support is that, I didn't know I was going to be in Los Angeles tonight. 2 weeks ago, I didn't. And I had to change some plans. She was not able to change her plans. But she was able to fly down here this afternoon. I've been here all weekend. And she's flying out tonight right after this meeting. She's not going to even be able to spend the night. So I appreciate, that's just an example of the support that I get. I also would like to thank the men and the women of my local support group, my UsTOO support group in Greenville, South Carolina. These ladies and gentlemen, they've supported me over the last 5 years as support group leader. I want to thank the South Carolina Cancer Alliance, which I'm a member, and the American Cancer Society. These two organizations have provided funding for us as we do through their community grants, as we do our outreach work. I want to thank my medical partners, in Greenville, South Carolina, the Greenville Hospital System, St. Francis Hospital System, Wallace Thompson's Hospital in Union, South Carolina, the Gibbs Cancer Center in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and free medical clinics in Lawrence and Greenwood County, South Carolina. These organizations made it possible for us to screen hundreds of men each year. Some of these men otherwise would not have access to screening. Also, I want to thank, and I certainly can't name all of them, but the many churches and community organizations and fraternities and community centers that allowed us to go in and make prostate cancer educational presentations each year. This allowed us to talk to 2,000 to 3,000 men and women a year. The majority of these men were African Americans, which is our focus. We're focusing on what you call the so-called underserved communities, which is the African Americans. Also, a special thanks goes out to a young lady I work with, a young lady with the Greenville Hospital System, Melinda Hudson. And she was the one who encouraged me and persuaded me to let her submit my name for this award. She had heard about this award. She said, "Johnny, well, why don't you send your name in? You do a lot of work in the community." And I really didn't think nothing would come of it. And that's why I really made other arrangements for September 10th and 11th. I didn't think I would be here. So I had to break those other commitments because I did want to be here. Also, I want to thank the selection committee for selecting me. And last but not least, I want to thank all those unnamed and sometimes unappreciated men and women in some cases out there, those so-called foot soldiers who really carry on, in my opinion, some of the most important work. And I really consider myself one of those foot soldiers. And I'm going to accept this award on behalf of those unnamed and not always unappreciated, because this award really tells us that we're not unappreciated. Thank you. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2002, successfully treated. I was diagnosed in July, I believe, of 2002, successfully treated in September of 2002. In fact, it was 8 years ago this very week that I was released from the Carolina Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, following rectal prostatectomy. And the thing about it, now that was the good news. For those last 8 years, I've been cancer-free. Now that's the good news. The bad news is, during those same 8 years, over 200,000 men have died. And so we think about why did I survive and some of these other men died? So there must be a reason for that. And I can only think that reason was for me to carry this message, for me to accept the mission that I've accepted. And I've accepted that mission. And that mission is to make a difference. And we don't do it, I'm a volunteer. I don't do it for salary. I don't do it for money. I don't even do it for plaques and trophies. I do it for the satisfaction of hearing those words, those most powerful words, thank you. You know, I get calls from men and sometimes their wife, and they'll just say, thank you for understanding, thank you for being there, thank you for doing what you do. And as I mentioned earlier today, I lead a support group in South Carolina. And for those of you who do not know it, South Carolina, we have one of the highest rates of prostate cancer incidence as well as mortality in the United States. I think we're around third. And so we have a tremendous challenge in South Carolina to turn those numbers around, and we're working on that. As I said before, we talk to hundreds of men and women each year. The majority are African American. We also we have a growing Hispanic population in South Carolina. So we've started reaching out to the Hispanic community. Although right at this time, we understand the Hispanic men don't suffer from prostate cancer as well as African Americans and white men. But we found the response that we're getting in South Carolina from the Hispanic men is tremendous. So our challenge is to defeat prostate cancer. And we want to encourage men to continue screening. Now, we know there's a big controversy. We want to put pressure on our legislators, our lawmakers, to pass favorable legislation so we can get funding to defeat this disease, find a cure, and if not necessarily a cure, perhaps find a better screening method. A screening method that's not so controversial, a screening method that perhaps will end this to screen or not to screen controversy. And I know we all want to see that go away. But until that time, PSA may not be a perfect test, but in most cases, it's the best we got. So we encourage men to continue getting your PSA, your DRE, especially if you happen to be in a high risk group like African Americans or maybe you have a family history. So we want to continue to do that. And last, as I close, we just want to remember one thing. Until we get until we get that perfect test, we can all think about a healing process, because the healing process is different from being cured. There are some people that are healed but never cured. Some are cured but never healed. But we can all be cured, because healing is a state of the mind and it's a state of the spirit, not the physical body is the cure. So let's think about that. I thank you. God bless you. Have a rest of a good evening.